Part 5 in my Six Nations preview series, guys, and right now we are talking about Scotland. Now, Scotland rugby last year, if we look back to the Six Nations, there was that outstanding performance against England. And I'm going to touch on this performance a number of times because there's some real insights I think that will translate and we need to talk about as we look forward to this year. But what a second half they had, down 24 points to come back and level that game 38-38. They'll be very unhappy that they didn't win that game, but proud of that achievement to come back. And what they've proved is that if they can pull it all together on the field, they can be very competitive against the best teams. Their problem has always been consistency of performance. That aside, they do have some very, very good players in this team. So let's go through it now. The first thing I want to talk about is the selection of Stuart Hogg as their captain. It's a bit unusual to see a fullback there as captain. Obviously difficult in terms of relaying some of the messages to the players. But he's an experienced guy and certainly one of the best fullbacks, if not the best, probably second best fullback. I'll get to who the number one is. In the Six Nations is Stuart Hogg, in my opinion. Very, very good player, certainly will not let you down. Other players that I've been very impressed with in the Scottish team, Jamie Ritchie, great young loose forward player, played really, really well in the Rugby World Cup. And what I see now in the Six Nations is there are so many good loose forwards in the Six Nations. He is exactly in that mould. We also see the recall of Cornell Dupree, a guy that, again, very, very good loose player, and really strengthens up that loose forward trio, I think, there for Scotland. Outside of that, and probably the greater talking points in all of this, they have got 6 uncapped players, but the greater talking points are those who will not feature this year in the Six Nations. Firstly, Greg Laidlaw, retired. Secondly, Finn Russell, breach of protocol. Now, I'm going to touch on this a little bit more. Breached team protocol and unfortunately has been dropped. He was given an opportunity to come back and welcome back into the team, but he's made his own personal decision not to feature. That's a huge loss for the Scottish team and a huge loss for the fans. And I think there's insights here into the dynamic between Gregor Townsend and Finn Russell. I'm going to touch on that. Bad luck for Darcy Graham. He gets a hamstring injury. That's a huge amount of strike lost in the backline and going to be difficult for Scotland to replace. Now, in terms of the draw, they have a really tough draw. They open up against Ireland and England. Both they play away. Italy, they've got away as well. In France, they play at home. Now, I think they will be targeting those games against Italy and France. I think if they can beat both of those teams, that is a successful Six Nations for Scotland. If they were able to somehow pick up a win against other teams again, that would be a huge boost. Last thing I'm going to say about Scottish rugby, guys, it is clear that there is a feud between Gregor Townsend and some of the key players, a guy like Finn Russell. And I think what it highlights is a lack of ability for the Scottish coaching staff to coach a maverick player like Finn Russell. A guy like Eddie Jones, he talks about it at length, that to manage maverick players, you really have to have a specific style built around them. You have to empower them while ensuring that the team benefits ultimately at the end. I don't think Gregor Townsend is able to get the best out of a guy like Finn Russell. And there were talks that back in that draw against England, that there was an argument at halftime that took place between Gregor Townsend and Finn Russell. The outcome was that Finn Russell wanted to abandon the play that was not working. They tried to kick for touch and it had the ball run back from England. They weren't able to play with the attacking flair that they've known for. Once he abandoned the style from Gregor Townsend, they were able to come back in that second half and be competitive. And therein lies the challenge, guys. How do you control that distance, that difference between attacking mindset while trying to control the outcome and play structured rugby? I think the answer for Scotland is to play more of an attacking style, to let these players take control of this team and start to play with a truly Scottish brand of rugby. If they try to fit in the mold of other teams, they will not be successful. We've seen that already. And unfortunately, he's already lost Finn Russell by the looks of it, with all the talk that we hear in the media and the news that Finn Russell doesn't want to come back into the squad. That's a big issue, guys. So in my view, they need to find that right balance. Now, they may not have that opportunity this year in the Six Nations, and they will still be targeting to get those 2 wins against both France and Italy. But if they can pull it all together, guys, that's a successful season for them. And then they look forward to the future on how they can empower those maverick players to be efficient at the top level of rugby. That's the key to success for Scotland for me. Okay, that's it. Part 5 done. Next, we're going to talk about part 6, final part before we look at the prediction on who will win the Six Nations. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. I'm going to come back and drop those last 2 videos, including my final prediction. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Scottish rugby team and what the keys to success are for them. Can they be successful this year? Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys soon.